going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, the Vikings were linked to a pretty well-known free agent by ESPN. They put out an article describing one move every NFL franchise should make before the start of the season. So we'll talk about that, and then, hey, it's the dog days of the NFL calendar, and I just want to go back and give you guys 5 of the worst takes I have ever had in the NFL. You guys will get a kick out of these, so stay tuned to the end. I'll give you guys some terrible takes that I once had. But speaking about the Vikings in this upcoming season, cannot wait for week 1. Cannot wait to play the NFC North this season. If you guys want the Vikes to win the NFC North, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. Let's see if we can pick up 500 likes on today's show. It really does help us get this video out to more and more Vikings fans. And plus, if you want to see have more Vikings fans, see some of my worst takes ever, hit that thumbs up icon and maybe share today's video if you guys are want to really help us out here. But so the one well-known free agent that ESPN connected the Minnesota Vikings to was actually edge rusher Matthew Judon. And I was a little intrigued when I heard this because I think the Vikings defensive line is absolutely loaded, and would they really have a need for Judon? I'll give you guys my thoughts here in a second, but first what ESPN had to say, saying the Vikings are set with their starting edge rushers, Jonathan Greenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. They have Dallas Turner waiting in the wings. And then after that, well, who is Bo Richter? Answer, he's a second-round undrafted free agent who played 29 defensive snaps last season and is probably currently the number 4 edge on the Minnesota depth chart. The Vikings could really use a veteran to provide depth and rotate in every so often. Judon had a disappointing 24 season with just 5.5 sacks for the Falcons, and he seems to be on the decline. He turns 33 in August. Still, he can get after the passer, and some reps as a backup might really rejuvenate his career. And, back in 2022 and in 2021, Matthew Judon was one of the better edge rushers in the National Football League. Obviously missed a lot of time in 23 due to the injury, only played in 4 games, but still had 4 sacks. This past season, definitely the worst out of the last 4. Played in all 17 games, only had 5.5 sacks. And originally when I saw this, I was like, absolutely not. Why would the Vikings want to go sign Matthew Judon? That doesn't really make any sense to me. But for a 1-year cheap deal, I'm cool with it. If he wants to come in, be a rotational guy, some games he might just not get on the field. But if he wants to go maybe chase a Super Bowl ring, be with a very good winning organization, then it makes some sense. But my biggest issue with this is, what about Dallas Turner? If you sign Judon, he can't come in and take any reps away from Turner. Because it was already tough for number 15 to get on the football field this past season. And if you would add another veteran in there, and especially if Judon plays well, which very well could be the case, Turner would just get moved on the depth chart yet again. So, again, I don't really have too strong of opinion either way on this. It would be cool. It would be a fun, July signing for the Vikings. We could all get, slightly excited about it. But I don't know. Maybe what say you on this one? Would you sign Matthew Judon? Give me an S for sign. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I would do it, but again, on a 1-year, $2-3 million deal. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. Now we'll get to my terrible takes that I've had over the past couple of years in a second. But before we do so, if you guys want to get a new Minnesota Vikings hoodie today, hit this link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Most of these hoodies are up to 50% off, so take advantage of this deal while it lasts. They got some great options. This one's pretty sweet. So if you guys need a new hoodie to rock at the bonfires this summer, or obviously when it does get colder in Minnesota in October, November, we got a deal going on. Hoodies are up to 50% off. Click that link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. All right, so bad take number 1. After week 12 last season, I said the Vikes were going to win the Super Bowl. And I will say I had it planned out. After week 12, I was like, the Vikings are going to win out. They're going to win the rest of their games. We're going to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. We're going to go to Detroit week 18, beat the Lions. Ended up obviously not happening. The Vikings only lost to 2 teams this past year, and obviously I'm a huge homer. I drink way too much purple Kool-Aid when I'm thinking about this football team, but that was definitely up there as one of my worst takes I've had. Just wishful thinking on my end, but this was a really bad take for me. After the Vikings lost to the Giants in that wild card game, I said Daniel Jones kind of reminds me of Josh Allen, and I will defend myself a little bit. Daniel Jones looked awesome in that playoff game. He had 75-plus yards on the ground. He threw for over 350. Big body. He was making some insane throws. Like, his arm talent looked crazy in that game. But definitely not one of my best takes out there that I was comparing him to one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Josh Allen. And now this guy's in a quarterback competition with Anthony Richardson. So definitely a terrible take on my end. And another bad one I had, KJ Osborne. I thought he was going to be one of the better wide receiver twos in the NFL. And this was actually when he was with it was Jefferson Thielen when he was wide receiver two. And I thought when Thielen's time was done, I was saying KJ Osborne. This was back in my old podcast. If you guys were watching me back at the school side days, I was saying KJ Osborne, once Thielen retired, he would step in, be one of the better wide receiver twos in the league. Yeah, he actually his career went down the drain after that. After I said that, he had drop issues. He wasn't even a serviceable wide receiver three. And even this past season with New England, he had a chance to really have a resurgence in his career. Didn't end up happening. So that was another bad one. And this is another bad one as well. All bad takes here. I also said Joe Burrow could be the next Derrick Rose heading into the last football season when he was dealing with that wrist injury. And the reason I said this was because we were getting reports from Cincinnati that he couldn't throw the football back-to-back days at practice. So I was thinking, you know what? All-time great talent. Had an unreal start to their career, but injuries obviously got the best of him. Obviously ended up not being the case. Joe Burrow will be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He'll be a top 4 quarterback in the league for probably the remainder of his NFL career. So that was a bad one as well, and hate the dog on my guy, Ty Chandler here. I thought he was going to be the future of the Vikings running back room. This was when it was Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison, and Ty Chandler. I was not a big fan of Madison. Dalvin Cook was definitely not playing good football at the time, and I thought Ty Chandler, we saw him in certain spots. He looked like he had juice, like a couple of those preseason games. He looked awesome, but that ended up being another bad take. I mean, this Vikings coaching staff barely trusts the guy to do anything. Like, they'll barely play him. Even last year, they had to go trade for Cam Akers. Back-to-back seasons, they had to go trade for Cam Akers because they didn't trust Ty Chandler running the rock. We'll see if Ty also ends up making the team this year. I think he will, but who knows? Who knows? But, hey, those were 5 of the worst takes I have ever had. But you guys, name your worst sports take of all time. I was trying to think of some other ones I had, like draft prospects I like. I thought Laquan Treadwell was going to be the next coming of Randy Moss. That ended up being wrong as well. But, hey, when you cover the Minnesota Vikings and you're as big of a homer as I am, it's going to be some bad takes out there. But if you guys could, drop those in the comment section. Can't wait to read those later tonight. And also hit that subscribe button on your way out if you guys want to stay up to date on everything around your Minnesota Vikings. And we'll see y'all next time. Enjoy the weekend. As always, Skol Vikes.